Welcome back to this week's episode of Radicata Nutrition, the only completely holistic channel where we talk about health and food in a way that helps you feel nourished and that helps you heal at all levels, including your body, your mind, your heart, and your soul. That's the whole you. And there is no transformation cannot happen if we don't truly nourish all of these parts of yourself. We can think of those four roots as leg of a on a chair or a table. Maybe it will stand with only three legs, but forget about it if you only have only two or one leg. And for a long time, with my personal story, I was trying to make the whole table stand on one leg. That is the leg of the body and the physical health, and I was completely forgetting about the importance of adding other legs, the mind, the heart, and the soul, and making sure those other legs or roots were also strong and feeling nourished. So today I want to talk about emotional eating, overeating. That's something that I have a lot of experience with. For many, many years, this used to be something that was a part of my life. So I know what it is to feel completely out of control with food, to spend my whole day, like I used to spend my whole day at work and trying to eat as little as I could. And then on the way back home, I would start thinking about the food that I could eat but shouldn't. And then would find myself standing and hiding in the kitchen in front of the cupboards and eating all the food that I could eat because I was so starved, not only physically, sometimes it was physically because I had not eaten enough, but sometimes it was starved mentally because of all of these thoughts about the foods that I shouldn't eat and how I should restrict and how I should never have this food again and how I could never have this food in the house because obviously I had no self-control and willpower because it was always gone within a few hours. That is completely draining and exhausting. And whether the restriction or the deprivation is physical, whether you really don't get enough food into your body, or whether it is mental because you're constantly thinking about it, the side effect is the same. And it is going to lead to overeating and emotional eating, whatever trigger will happen in your life, whatever form of stress, whether at work, in your relationship, finances, with your kids, family, anything will be a trigger for you to eat more food. I used to think that having, certain foods like croissant or chocolate chip cookies or uh, plantain chips or whatever in my cupboards was the trigger, but it was actually way deeper than that. Was not really about the food. It was about having so many things inside of me that were not being acknowledged, that were not feeling nourished. And the only way that I knew how to deal with those hard emotions that I didn't know how to deal with, that I didn't even know how to see, was to eat food, to try to numb those hard emotions and to distract myself with something else. And this is something that happens for all of us. And just know that if you struggle with emotional eating, you're not alone. I mean, such a huge percentage, definitely more than half of the people that I work with, probably around three-quarter, have struggled with emotional eating at a level where it has interfered with their physical health and their mental health and the way they live their life. So you are not alone. So, what is the best thing that we can do to fight or rather overcome emotional eating? It's to be more gentle with ourselves. And I know you're gonna say, well, this is just an excuse for me to just be lazy and just keep eating my emotions without doing anything about it. But that is not the truth. For me, that was the biggest step in me allowing that emotional eating to slowly dissipate from my life, to just stop being so damn hard on myself, to forgive myself, to not try to resist against it so much, because you may have heard of this expression, what you resist persists. And that's why when we think of emotional eating as something so scary, so out of control, so bad that we need to fight against it, we're going to drain and exhaust ourselves in the process. When we allow ourselves to become softer, actually a lot of strength comes from that softness, that beautiful and strong softness that can manifest itself in the compassion and forgiveness that we can apply on those wounds that we have inside of our hearts. So maybe that sounds a little bit too airy and fluffy, but it is absolute truth. So here are a few journaling prompts that I encourage you to try right now to help you with that. Think of the last episode of emotional eating you've had, okay? Whether it was today, a few hours ago, just before watching this episode, or earlier this week or earlier this month. Think of that and write, I forgive myself for. I forgive myself for whatever you feel bad about. It's okay. You can forgive yourself. You have the power to do that. And there's so much power that can come from that. Again, that strong softness. Then write and say it out loud 3 times. I was doing the best that I could with the tools that I had. I was doing the best that I could with the tools that I had. Because you were doing the best that you could with the tools that you had. This is the absolute truth. Because I know that emotional eating is not what you want to do. Of course not. Nobody wants that. It doesn't feel good. Maybe for a few seconds, but it doesn't last very long. It feels like it doesn't feel good. And nobody wants that. So you wouldn't be doing that if unless it was the best way that you knew that you could deal with the hard emotions that you have inside of you. So know with absolute certainty that you were doing the best that you could with the tools that you had, and that you can forgive yourself. Okay. And then next prompt is what I need right now to feel more nourished at all levels, body, mind, heart, and soul is. So let yourself be surprised with what comes up. What is it inside of you that needs to feel more nourished, and what would bring more of that nourishment? It could be something as simple as going outside for a few minutes, calling someone, pouring yourself a cup of tea, going to bed earlier, making sure that you have a good breakfast when you leave the house, or making sure that you have a lunch ready for tomorrow when you go to work, or asking for help to have a few minutes without the kids so you can take a shower by yourself and have some time to just pamper yourself and put your cream and body butter on after your shower. Or maybe it's watching a funny movie, or maybe I don't know, it can be anything you want, or maybe it's eating some dark chocolate and with a glass of wine. What you need to feel more nourished, and write it down. And then the most important step that you need to do is to do it. Give it to yourself. What it is that you need to feel more nourished, give it to yourself like it was your number one priority. This is how you can rebuild your self-trust, because with everything that's been going on with the emotional eating and not feeling nourished in your body, mind, heart, and soul, what happens is that we say all of these things to ourselves and we lose that trust within ourselves. So the best way to rebuild it is to reconnect with ourselves, listen to what we need, and take action. Give it back to ourselves. And every time we do that, we don't need to be perfect, but every time we do that, we rebuild that trust. And with that, the soft power of forgiveness and compassion, and the strong power of getting that trust and empowerment back inside of you will help many different layers of that emotional eating problem to unfold, so that you can see that it was not only about the emotional eating. That was actually not the problem. Emotional eating was only a symptom. And there's so much more deeper that is all about reconnecting with yourself, basically. So that emotional eating, it's just a little red flag. Hey, here, help! I need you to listen. I need you to see me. I need you to reconnect with me, a part of yourself that is begging for your attention. So, yeah, what do you need to forgive yourself for with your latest episode of emotional eating? Remember that you were truly doing the best that you could with the tools that you had. Listen and tune in to what it is that you need to feel more nourished in your body, mind, heart, and soul. And then give it to yourself because you do deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Stop putting yourself last on the list. You are enough right now, just as you are, with the body that you have, with whatever your health is like right now, whatever your bank account is saying right now. You are enough exactly as you are, and you deserve to feel nourished at all of these levels. So try this. Next time you have an episode of emotional eating, you can practice with the latest one you had, but with the next one, try to remember to do this and make it a practice and see the transformation that can happen for you in your life as a result of this very, very simple practice. All right, have a good rest of your day, beautiful souls, and I'll be back next week as usual. Take care. Namaste.